What is up, and welcome back to my channel, Mountain Biking HQ. This is Mike, and I'm here to talk to you about why is mountain biking so dangerous. That's a topic we're going to cover today. And I know, I'm a 42-year-old father of three, and when I really considered getting into mountain biking, my wife was like, "What are you talking about? Do not do that. You're going to get hurt, blah, blah, blah." So kind of scared me. It made me think twice about it. So I did a lot of research on just mountain biking in general, kind of before I jumped into it, and to realize, is it, first of all, just trying to see, is it really that dangerous? Am I getting into something where I'm actually going to get injured? And the truth is that yes and no. And that's kind of what we're going to dive into today is, how mountain biking can be dangerous, and maybe some methods and thoughts that you can, or ways to mountain bike that reduce the risk of danger. So let's just dive in. First of all, there's three major concerns when you're talking about mountain biking. The one is gravity. So a lot of if you're talking about going up to a ski resort and you're doing a lot of downhill mountain biking, that is the most dangerous. And I'll show you some statistics later on in this video about that. But that is by far and away the most dangerous way of mountain biking. You're on a steep decline and gravity wants you to go fast. So you're going to have to be really disciplined and putting on the brakes to make sure that you're traveling at a safe speed. So if that is one of the major reasons why mountain biking is so dangerous. Next one would be obstacles, and that's just simply like rocks, any kind of cracks in the ground as you're, pursuing while you're riding, anything that could kind of throw you off your bike. Different trails are going to have different levels of obstacles. So picking the right kind of trails is important. But obstacles definitely plays a huge factor in making mountain biking extremely dangerous. And then lastly is just conditions. So it could be raining, fog, where you can't see the trail as well. If you're starting to ride when it starts to get dark at like twilight, where it's harder to see. Say you go out at a time when you're going out during the daytime, but on your return, you're going to be stuck in a situation where you're going to be going back at night. Those are all things that to think about if you do start mountain biking, that those increase your potential for getting injured significantly. So understanding, also if it's raining, if the ground's wet or it's muddy, all these things factor in. So those are the three major things to think about. And then we talk about cross country. So for me, I was more into wanting to do more long distance mountain biking, which is kind of like cross country stuff. So things to think about when you're doing that is hydration and injury from, the duration of your ride. You might get injured just because you get fatigued, you get tired, or not really paying attention to the obstacles, or even just the trail itself. So those are things to think about when you're doing cross country. Just always make sure you stay hydrated, and you're also don't overdo it and get so fatigued that when you're riding, you can make a mistake and then fall off your bike. Other hazard to think about, I just touched on this in the last slide, is fatigue. Obviously, just don't overdo it. When you start to feel yourself getting tired, take a break, or just shorten the length of your ride. Another one is your ego, and I know that's a big one. So if you're riding with people that are more experienced than you, you definitely need to think about that. So just don't get trying to keep up with the other guy. Just make sure you're riding within your limits. And then nighttime. So nighttime mountain biking is a thing, and a lot of people do it. But if you're going to do that at night, you got to make sure you have the right equipment, the right lighting, and just riding at night, it just adds to the risk in itself. A couple other things to think about is inferior equipment. So say you have an unfamiliar bike, or you're borrowing a bike. It's not something that you're comfortable riding. That's something to think about. You want to make sure you have a bike that you are very familiar with before you start mountain biking. You might have a bad bike fit. I know that in the past when I did triathlon, you always, you spend money to get the correct fit for your triathlon bike. With a mountain bike, there's less components to kind of tweak to make it fit you, but make sure your seat's in the right position, your handlebars are at the right angle, so that you feel like the bike is, molded to your body. And then also just keeping up with friends with better bikes. So you might be riding with a friend, you might be in better shape than this guy, but he has a way better bike than you. And in mountain biking, that matters a lot. Just think as an example, like using a dropper seat when you're going downhill makes a huge difference, because it takes the your body weight and propels it back, so you're hugging that mountain more. So if you don't have a dropper seat and you're riding with it with someone that does, he's going to be able to travel under more control and faster on the downhill than you can, just by him having that extra equipment. As I mentioned earlier, so they did a study as far as like how dangerous mountain biking is, and to give you some perspective, this Whistler mountain bike study, they studied 2,000 injuries to 900 riders in a single 5-month season. The injuries range from broken bones, concussion, internal bleeding, and some severe cases quadriplegia. In comparison, downhill skiing has a ratio of 1 injury per 1,000 skiers. This study showed an injury rate of 1 per 10 mountain bikers. I think that's partly due to the fact that a lot of people do it as a recreational thing. They're not familiar with mountain biking. And as I mentioned earlier, downhill mountain biking is for sure the most dangerous type of mountain biking you can do. So how can you be safe and get rid of the dangers of mountain biking? The first thing is ride within your limits. I've stressed that already. Don't go on trails that you're not comfortable with. Most trails on any kind of a trail app you might have are all labeled easy, moderate, difficult. Stick with ones that are within your range. Ride with friends that are at the same level of you, because I know everyone's ego does get involved and you want to make it a fun ride for everyone. So ride with friends that are at the same level as you. Don't try to ride with people that are more experienced unless that person really understands mountain biking, understands the dangers of it, and doesn't push you too faster and get you out of your comfort zone. Upgrade your components or your mountain bike to make it safer. As I described earlier, like a dropper seat's a great example. Adding a dropper seat makes you safer on downhills because it adjusts your body weight to hug the mountain more, is the best way I can explain that. And then just avoid trails that are beyond your abilities. So know what kind of trail you're getting yourself into before you start your ride, and avoid those trails that might be out of your range. And lastly, if you want to check out what some of my top mountain bike recommendations, just go to type in on Google mountain biking HQ #1 bike, and that'll show you some of my top mountain bike recommendations. They kind of have a lot of these components that I spoke about to make you safer out there on the trail. That's it. I hope you got some value to this. Have a great day.